Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. It is December the 3rd, 2025, as we are quickly approaching Packers versus Bears this Sunday at Lambeau Field. Really excited to continue to dive into that game as we get closer to kickoff. 3:25 kickoff. Going to be a cold, chilly one at Lambeau. Going to be a lot of fun to see this Packers-Bears rivalry reignited for the 2025 season and see who comes out on top on this first of two matchups within a 3-week span. And the second game, it sounds like, has gotten flexed to Saturday night, 7:15 Central kickoff. That'll be prime time viewing as we're coming down the playoff stretch. We'll dive into the playoff implications a little later in the week. But what we wanted to do this morning was talk a little Devonte Wyatt replacement. Obviously, it was announced by Matt LaFleur. Devonte Wyatt will be out for the remainder of the season. A huge blow for the Green Bay Packers, either way you look at it. Devonte Wyatt obviously playing that 3-tech role that we talk about being a tier 1 position of importance. Now, was he dominant? No. But he was a solid football player. The Packers paid him as if he's one of the top defensive tackles in the 3-tech position across the entire league, with that 5th-year option being extended. We'll talk about how that applies to the whole situation on the backside of the show. We're going to talk who could be potentially replacing Devonte Wyatt. You know, we've kind of been down this road already earlier this season with Devonte Wyatt being out a significant amount of time, facing injuries already. That's been one of the negative aspects to Devonte Wyatt, is not being able to stay on the field. We've talked about that from time to time, right? It seems like he is constantly, banged up, and the way he plays, to me, the first thing that comes to mind for me when I see Devonte Wyatt play 3-tech is a Tasmanian devil. Like, this dude early in his career played out of control, and that's why it was like, whoa, buddy, you gotta slow down, you gotta calm down. It's not just about getting to the quarterback, it's about controlling your run fit and whatnot. And he really started to harness that this year, and it looked like he was taking a big step forward, in my opinion. It sucks that he's out for the remainder of the year. So we'll dive into all that. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. And again, if this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your morning. We're not experts, we're not insiders, we're not media members, we're fans just like you, breaking down Packers talk on the daily. Multiple live streams a day. You'll also get this in video form. You can also get it in podcast form over at Packernet Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts at. So let's waste no time. I know the chat is already filing in here. Appreciate everybody jumping in. We got Bates in the house. We got Sean Farva in the house. Mike Berry, good to see you, sir. Nick McSwain, tip of the cap to you. We got Adam in the house. Says Bears fans are going wild on Twitter. It's insane. I love it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We've been bookmarking tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet. You'll see nowhere where we have tweeted out, oh, the Packers are going to win this game. We talk about the positives. We talk about the negatives. We talk about where they may have the edge, where the Packers may have the edge. And Bears fans think they've got this one locked up. You know what? They may win this ball game, but if they don't, the Packers, I think, opened at 6-point favorites. You guys know you got to throw that out the window when it comes to rivalry games and divisional games. But man, oh man, if they lose this game, bookmarks will flow like the geese of Capistrano on Monday morning. I promise you. Victory Monday will be sweet if it does unfold that way. Let them talk, Adam. Let them talk. Say, hey, good point, and move along. Good point. Move along. Make sure you hit that bookmark, though. Send it my way. We'll make sure we have fun with that if the Packers do pull out a dub here at Lambeau Field. All right, let's waste no time. Get into it here. Devonte Wyatt. Obviously, the Packers lose Devonte Wyatt for the season. Who steps up now? Next man up breakdown. All right. You guys can find this over at Patreon. Again, it's the best way to support what we do here at Packers Total Access is join our Patreon community, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. $3 get you access to everything. We do, extensive breakdowns over there. We've got the main thing I want you guys to understand about our Patreon community is exactly what that is, the community. being able to connect with other PTA fans, and we're in the chats as well. It's a good way to get in hold of us with direct messaging, things like that. It's just an awesome little community that's come together really because people wanted to support the show. It had nothing to do with extra content at first, and now we're going to continue to try to give you guys extra content as we move forward. So appreciate everybody who's a member over there at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Let's go. Let's get into it. Let's talk with sacks. Everybody's obsessed with the defensive line sacks, right? With the sack in the quarterback. It's one of the most important statistics in football. Obviously, negative net gain on the play, taking a team off schedule. Sometimes you get the strip sacks, which leads to fumbles. Obviously, the ever important turnover ratio that we always talk about on this particular program. But let's talk sacks for a minute, okay? Now, keep in mind, this does not include Micah Parsons because for whatever reason on NFL Pro, they've got him listed as a linebacker. It's because he plays a little stack backer. He'll play a little joker one. He'll move around a touch. So Micah Parsons leads the way with 12.5 sacks, obviously, right? Now, when you get into some of the other guys here, Rashawn Gary, second on the team with 7.5 sacks. All right. Devonte Wyatt was third on the Green Bay Packers with 4 sacks. That doesn't include the traditional stack backers. So I don't think there's anyone who's got more than Devonte Wyatt's 4 sacks. Then LVN, Kingsley Enagbare, Carl Brooks with a half a sack. You got Baron Sorrell with a half a sack, Warren Brinson with a half a sack, and then no one else has a sack on the team. Now, I want to really key in on interior defensive tackle. That's what we're trying to replace with Devonte Wyatt. Who best fits that role to fill in that 3-tech position? When I say 3-tech, guys, what we're talking about is we are talking about playing in between the guard and the tackle, okay, essentially the B gap. And when you hear us mention technique, this is what we're talking about. Notice the numbers lined up on the top of the screen, okay? You got the offensive line position. You got the gaps identified on the bottom of the screen grab, C gap, B gap, A gap, A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap, okay? D gap obviously being the outside shoulder of the attached Y tight end. Now, when you look at the 3-tech, notice where it's at. It's in between the guard and the tackle. Now, you also get a 4-eye look, which plays the inside shoulder of the tackle, same as a 2-eye look, the inside shoulder of the guard. But what Devonte Wyatt was essentially playing the majority of the time, not always, was 3 to 4-eye. That's what he would play. Occasionally, he'd play a little 2. It was rare you seen him in the 1, although in this game against the Lions, you did see them shift a couple times. Devonte Wyatt seen something he liked. He told Brinson, hey, kick over. So Brinson would kick over to the 3 to the 4-eye, and then Devonte Wyatt would take on the 1-tech. At one time, he played 0-tech as well. So he played what we call nose or a little bit of shade there. Just wanted to kind of let you guys know what we mean when we say 3-tech. So that's the position we're looking to fill predominantly is the 3-tech spot. I kind of group 3-tech in with 4-eye because you're accomplishing the same thing. You're looking to split the B gap between the tackle and the guard. And typically you'll put your best edge rusher, if you only have one really, really good edge rusher, you'll put him opposite in a wide 9 or a 7. Okay. So you're forcing the offensive line. Do we slide the protection to that dominant 3-tech? Do we slide that protection to the 9? That's essentially what you're looking to do. So in terms of sacks, who's leading the way in terms of interior defensive alignment? It was Devonte Wyatt with 4 sacks. That's the biggest loss we got. Carl Brooks has been banged up, right? He's only played 387 snaps here, but a half a sack on the season. Warren Brinson, a half a sack on the season. So you got to kind of look at these numbers, go, okay, Kobe Wooden is your traditional nose tackle. We talk about that. He's played in all 12 games. He's 392 snaps, right, on the season. So you can kind of see the even rotation they've got here. Wyatt has played a total of 359 snaps. Carl Brooks has played 387, which is wild to think about, right? He's only played in 11 games, but remember, Devonte Wyatt only played in 10 games. So we're going to break down some percentages here in just a second, kind of give you guys a little bit better idea. So that's just kind of the snap workload there, right? Now, Warren Brinson has played pretty darn good football, but only 114 snaps. So you got to really, really take that into consideration. So we should be getting Carl Brooks back soon. Hopefully that'll help fill this void a little bit, but let's dive into some of the numbers here. Let's talk defensive line quarterback pressure. Again, not listed as Micah Parsons. He leads the way with a 20% pressure rate, according to NFL Pro, Next Gen Stats, GPS tracking. Unbelievable number there. Who's next? Across the entire defensive line, Lucas Van Ness, 13.7%. It's going to help a lot when we finally do get him back because he plays a little 3-tech when we break out our what we call our cheetah package, right? Which is essentially we'll only have one defensive tackle, which I would imagine will be Kobe Wooden or Warren Brinson until Carl Brooks comes back. And then you put an extra edge rusher in the 3-tech. That was LVN's role before he got hurt. Now it's turned into Enigbare's role a little bit, which has kind of played into a nice little hand for Jeff Hafley to be able to play some fire zone blitzing and drop 55 into coverage, what we call 55 drop with Kingsley Enagbare. Okay. So again, Lucas Van Ness, 13.7%. Warren Brinson, guys, of all the defensive tackles, including Devonte Wyatt, his quarterback pressure percentage, according to NFL Pro, 13.2%. Guys, Devonte Wyatt, to put that into perspective, is the next defensive tackle at 7.7%. Now, again, Warren Brinson, only 114 snaps, right? Only 68 pass rush snaps. So it's a small sample size, but he's got 9 quarterback pressures off 68 pass rushes. All right. So taking that into consideration, listen, Devonte Wyatt is our best interior defensive tackle. Please don't take me the wrong way here. But when you look at the quarterback pressure percentage, Warren Brinson has damn near doubled Devonte Wyatt's quarterback pressure percentage. Now, keep in mind, Devonte Wyatt has the 4 sacks we talked about, right? So with the 4 sacks to Brinson's half sack, and then you look at Devonte Wyatt's got 209 rushes. If you were to let's just say triple Warren Brinson's snap count there, he'd be on pace for 1.5 sacks. Now, chances are those will be 2 full sacks that you'd be picking up. So you'd probably be looking at 2.5 sacks, and you're still 30, 40 snaps shy of where Devonte Wyatt's at. Right now, if you've done it 4 times the amount, you're probably looking at the same type of production that Devonte Wyatt's gotten in terms of the pass rush with Warren Brinson. So now you're asking yourself, okay, that's great. Warren Brinson's rushing the quarterback pretty effectively, Clayton. What about the run defense, right? Glad you asked. Let's take a look at it. Defensive line run stops. Now, keep in mind, a sack counts as a stop as well, okay? So if anything, that says that Devonte Wyatt's stops are inflated a little bit because of the sacks, okay? And maybe Warren Brinson's are down a touch because he doesn't have any sacks. So these are or he's got a half a sack. These are predominantly run stops. So I list it as stops, but really when it comes to interior defensive linemen, you can kind of look at them at run stops. The large majority of them are run stops, and you're getting into splitting hairs if you're looking at anything different, okay? So again, run stops. Rashawn Gary leading the way, surprise, surprise, with 30 run stops. Kobe Wooden, 27 run stops. So Kobe Wooden is your run stuffer. He's your one tech. Here's your nose. Here's your shade, right? He's that guy that's filling the middle of that defense and allowing other defensive tackles to kick out to the 3 tech and get after the quarterback. Devonte Wyatt, 20 stops. Kingsley Enagbare, 16. Carl Brooks, 11 stops. That's a solid number right there. Lucas Van Ness with 8, Warren Brinson with 5, and then Baron Sorrell and Nazir Stackhouse with 4. Now, let's talk about run stop rate, because you see those and you go, oh, no, Warren Brinson, only 5 stops. But again, look at the run D snaps, guys, 44 run D snaps. So when you break it down, the run stop rate is actually closer than you think. Devonte Wyatt's run stop rate is 13%. Now, keep in mind that includes the sacks, so it's a little inflated. It's probably in the 12th percentile there, right? Kobe Wooden, 13%. So he's actually leading the way in run stops for the Green Bay Packers in 2025. Warren Brinson, right on his heels at 11%. Right on Devonte Wyatt's heels at 11, or where he was sitting at 13% when you remove the sacks, is probably in the 12th percentile. Okay. So Brinson at 11% run stop rate. And then you look at the quarterback pressure rate, and Warren Brinson is 13.2% quarterback pressure rate. You guys pick up what I'm saying here? This in no way, shape, or form am I trying to negate the fact that we're going to miss Devonte Wyatt at defensive tackle. But when you really dive into the numbers and you look at the tape and you watch Warren Brinson hold his own as a rookie, and as Matt LaFleur said in his presser yesterday, the more snaps these guys get, the better you feel about them playing interior defensive line. It's just one of those things. You want them to get as many snaps as possible, as quick as possible, but obviously you don't want to hinder your defense along the way. So again, I don't see a huge drop-off from Brinson. Here's what's cool. Wooden's going to continue to play nose tackle. He's going to continue to play 1. Brinson's going to fill in that 3 role, and you'll probably have Carl Brooks come in and play both. So Carl Brooks will probably leap these guys in snap count, I would imagine, unless Hafley is really taking a liking to Wooden and Brinson. If that's the case, Brooks is going to be your rotational guy with Brinson in the 3 tech. Now, Brooks is sitting at 9% run stop rate, since he, in the amount of snaps that he's played this season, right? So when we go to defensive grade now, let's go to PFF grades. This is what I talk about cross-checking stuff. Kobe Wooden has the best defensive grade at 60.5. Carl Brooks is second at 56.7. Devonte Wyatt's third at 52.9. Warren Brinson is fourth at 50.8. Nas Stackhouse is 46. Now, here's the problem I have with the grades, and the reason I like to cross-check them. If Warren Brinson is a worse defender than Devonte Wyatt, Carl Brooks, and Kobe Wooden, how in the heck is he so much higher in quarterback pressure percentage? And you're going, well, do we know that quarterback pressure percentage number is right? Yes, we do. You know how I know that? Because if we were on NFL Pro's site right now, you see my cursor, we could literally click on that 9 right there, and it would show us every single snap, the tape, the evidence. Here is why we called it a pressure. However, when you get down here to these grades from PFF, there is absolutely no reference point whatsoever to say this play we graded this, that play we graded that, this play we gave a pressure. It's all just kind of lost in the abyss. That's why I choose NFL Pro data over PFF data, because they actually back it up with the tape, while PFF goes la 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 la. Just trust me, bro. It's hashtag trust me, bro, is how they operate. I see the super chat there, Seth. Thank you so much, buddy. We'll hit that on the backside of the show. PFF pass rush grade. Once again, Brinson is grading out as the second best at 69.1. Cross-checking, that checks out, right? Because again, if you look at his pressure rate, 69.1, and then you go back up to the pressure percentage, right? Warren Brinson, 13.2%, that checks out. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for what you're seeing on tape, what you're seeing in the GPS tracking and the stats that they'll actually earmark, this is the play, and cross-check it with PFF. To me, that gives me confidence, confirmation. Warren Brinson is a good pass rushing defensive tackle. And that's the whole purpose here, is to go, okay, who's best suited to fill that void for Devonte Wyatt at 3 tech? To me, Warren Brinson jumps off the paper, right? Run defense grade, however, Warren Brinson drops down to 42.7. Again, they don't give us any cross-check. What does the run stop rate suggest? Brinson's at 11%. That's worse than Wooden and Wyatt. So again, worse than Wooden and Wyatt. They've got Wyatt down here, guys, listed as a 38.7 run defense grade. So you would look at that if you only follow PFF and say, all right, Devonte Wyatt is a good pass rusher, horrible run defender. If he's such a bad run defender, then how in the hell is his stop rate 13%? The 4 sacks inflated a little bit, but he's still in the 12th percentile, which would put him second here. He should be right behind Wooden. So again, I'm not saying you should take NFL Pro data as the gospel. I'm not saying you should take PFF as the gospel. Take it all, throw it in together, and you make your own determination of whether, okay, yeah, after I watch the tape, I agree more with NFL Pro than I do these phantom grades from PFF that we don't have anything to reference off of, right? Now, another thing I take into consideration when we're trying to decide okay, how valuable is a player? Okay, PFF may say they're great. NFL Pro data may suggest they're not. The tape may not look good. Another factor that I take into consideration, I use the tape and NFL Pro data as one source. I use the PFF grades as another source. And then I use how much money is the team willing to pay this player as another source. You take those 3 things and throw them into a bucket. It tells you how good that player is, how valuable that player is for the team. As I always say, like in business, if you want to know how much you value something, right? You want to know where someone's priorities lie. I heard a business partner of mine say this years ago. You look at their checkbook and their calendar. Where are they spending their time and where are they spending their money? That's the most important thing in your life, most likely. Okay. If you're not spending time with family, guess what? Don't claim to be a family man. If you're, if you're not spending money on family or maybe a cause that you want to give to, and you just like to go buy flashy things, probably somewhat of a selfish person, right? That checkbook will tell you where the money goes to. Truth hurts. I've been there. Got the t-shirt, right? Trying to be better every day. But the point is, with Devonte Wyatt, look at what the Packers tagged him with next year. Now, again, you can work out a contract and try to, minimize the damage there, because this is a fully guaranteed $12.9 million contract next year. That's the 5th-year option on the first-round pick. So it tallied up to $12.9 million cap hit. Again, you notice the dead cap is 12.9. It's fully guaranteed. Now, you can work out a contract extension and try to include that as a part of the guaranteed aspect of a 3-year deal or what have you. But the problem is, next year, Devonte Wyatt turns 28 years old. He just battled another injury. Is Devonte Wyatt going to be here in the future? Last year, I would have said, yeah, right? Now you got another injury that's piled on. You got to kind of play that by ear. But the point here is if you're willing to tag him with $12.9 million fully guaranteed next year, that tells me the team thinks really, really highly of Devonte Wyatt. So when you take that into consideration, you take the NFL Pro data, the sacks, the pressure percentage, well, not the pressure percentage, but the run stop rate, it's kind of showing he's a better run defender than we give credit for. But when you look at the quarterback pressure percentage here, according to NFL Pro, that quarterback pressure percentage, guys, at 7.7%, that's not that good. However, is it that Warren Brinson is so damn good that he's tilting scale a little bit? So, writing on the wall, the purpose of this video was to identify who's best suited to take over for Devonte Wyatt the majority of the time at 3-tech, even though there's a heavy rotation. For me, hands down, it's Warren Brinson. But I'm keeping an eye on Brinson for the rest of the season going, you know what, guys? There may not be a long-term contract extension for Devonte Wyatt if Warren Brinson continues to take a step forward because he's playing pretty good football. Now, again, somewhat minimal snaps. He's only played 114 snaps, but just keep your eye on Brinson. Look for Carl Brooks to come back from injury as well. Let's wrap up with a couple comments. I'll hit that super and we'll get out of here. Tyler McCarty in our Patreon group says getting LVN back and Jaden Reed will help tremendously. Completely agree. LVN, you can press more into that cheetah package with only one defensive tackle to minimize the loss of Devonte Wyatt, right? So that's going to help a lot. Now, when will he come back? Time will tell, right? Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Just make sure he's healthy. Jennifer Wright said it's Bulldog season for both Stackhouse and Brinson. The clip of Stack having the kid touch the rim at Dick's Sporting Goods and the kids taking out the display is more Stackhouse gold. Just need him to do that to the Bears offensive line Sunday. Yeah, and Stackhouse is one of those dudes. He's a big body. He can fill a gap, right? His run defense grades of 44.1, his overall grades of 46, his pass rush grades of 56. So you haven't truly seen it on the field yet, Jen. God, I love that dude. I want him to be here long term. I want him to be a great player because his personality, everything about him. You can tell the teammates love him. They kind of gravitate toward him. He's one of those young dudes that's just fun loving. You need those guys on your ball clubs. You got to have that to kind of keep things even killed. But again, Nas Stackhouse, when you look at 4 stops on 65 run snaps, right? So not a great percentage. Actually, we had the percentage, didn't we? Let me go back here. Yeah, Stackhouse only a 6% run stop rate, right? That's what's beautiful about Kobe Wooden. Typically, when you play 1-tech, guys, you're kind of plugging that A gap, and you're just kind of holding the point of attack. You're not necessarily 2-gapping, but you're kind of the anchor point, right? You're not making a whole lot of tackles for loss and things like that typically. Now, in a 34, absolutely. But in a 4-3, you're a little more aggressive with a 1-gap approach if they're not throwing in some mixes of two backs. But with Wooden, 13% run stop rate playing 1-tech is pretty darn impressive in my opinion. Like, that really stood out to me. Now, Stackhouse, who comes in for him occasionally, right? Or they'll kick Wooden over and bring Stackhouse in to play 1-tech. He's only at 6%. So we got to see more from Stackhouse, Jen, definitely, right? But again, just it's really, really cool to kind of see some of the young guys step up. It sucks that our boy Devonte Wyatt obviously got hurt. You never want to see that happen, but it's next man up, and he knows that as well as anyone. Everybody in the league knows, look, injuries are going to happen, man. They are going to happen. I'm going to hit these Patreon chats real quick over in our questions for the show. Another perk of being a member in the Patreon group here. Let's just hit a couple of them random fire here. Pack 90 says, at this point in the season, do you feel looking at the last 3-game team ranking stats give a better indication of how well a team is playing instead of looking at the entire season averages? I think it's very fair to say that, Pack 90. We try to kind of reference those from time to time. But also you got to think the league is very cyclical. What was working in the first quarter of the season stops working at the halfway point because teams got the tape and they start to catch on, right? And then all of a sudden you have to change your game plan. You may get your numbers amped back up, and now they adjust. Now you go back to what you're doing the first quarter of the season. So I think both are important, the entirety of the season and the last 3-game saturation as well. So great point there. Ron Sample says, with Ben Johnson knowing the Packers are going to be focusing on the run after watching the Philly game and talking his passing game down in a press conference, should we expect the Bears to start the game throwing the ball around the field? I don't think I would expect that. I think they would try to run the ball, although that might be the approach they take. I kind of hope they do because the Packers' pass defense is even better than the run defense. And Ben knows that. I think what Ben will try to do is create extra spacing with creativity within their run game, showing stuff that they have been doing, but doing the opposite. Again, that's what Matt LaFleur always talked about, the illusion of complexity with simplicity at its base. You're still attacking the same space. You're still attacking the same running style. You're doing it out of different looks with different motion and different sugar, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out and try the short passing game early on. Pack Rob in the chat says, Dirtbag watch. We got Craig Rolstad is the head ref for us this week. What a damn dirtbag, man. What a dirtbag. And then, of course, Bates coming in with the important statistics here. Stats for Rolstad, if anyone cares, LOL. We always care about Dirtbag Watch here at PTA. 12 games officiated this year, 69 penalties against home teams, 78 against the away teams. Penalties a game is 12.15. League average is currently 13.2, so below league average for penalties per game. That's nice to hear. Home team winning percentage is 66.6%. The league average is 54%. So what's that tell you? This staff or this officiating crew, Rolstad, they typically lean towards the home team pretty significantly there. 54% up to 66% for the home team is pretty noticeable, man. So again, home team winning percent. So that's just not saying how many flags are thrown. It's just how the winning percentages worked out there. Thank you so much, Bates. That's an important statistic. The last Packers game he officiated was November 24th, 2024. Packers versus the Niners at Lambeau. The Packers won 38-10. Side note, Jacobs had 106 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. Bates, you are the man with that info, dude. Thank you so much. Jennifer Wright, Bates with the knowledge bombs as always. Completely agree with that. And Jen says, assuming that Reed is back Sunday with both Lloyd and Cox get a 2-week ramp up, what roster cuts are going to be made to make space? Obviously, Wyatt goes on IR. It opens up one spot, but D-line is thin and wide receiver is thick. Seems like lots of moves are going to have to be made. That's a great point. Boy, I hate to say it, but it kind of feels like Malik Heath. You know, I love Malik Heath, but we cannot ignore the fact that there was something that happened between him and the coaching staff where he didn't travel with the team, right? Recently, I know he was there and he played significant snaps against Detroit on Thanksgiving, but that's the one that kind of sticks out to me. Again, if I had to guess, that's one that will probably be gone. At least try to get him over to the practice squad. But again, man, you may value Malik Heath so much in his run blocking and other aspects of his game that, you know, you keep him around. So anyway, thanks to everybody in the Patreon group. Let me hit the super chat again. Seth, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. I miss Tuck Norris, especially this week. Amen, Seth. Love to see our boy Tucker Kraft running through a Chicago Bears face, man. It sucks. We knew it was going to be a huge hit when Tucker went down. And that's why you got to tip your cap to Jordan. You got to tip your cap to Matt LaFleur and this entire offense picking up the slack. And we know Tuck's still around. Unlike what Romeo Dobbs said, he's in a better place. He's still here with us. All right, Rome. Tucker's fine. I've seen him multiple times. He is still here on this earth. But yes, Seth, I miss him too, man. And all I can say is the only thing I can really lean on is the comeback story. It's going to be a hell of a story, right? Going to be a hell of a story to tell. And I appreciate the super chat, buddy. All right, guys, I had to get out of here. I told Mandy 15 minutes to do a show so we can go shopping, do a little Christmas shopping. And here we are, 28-minute mark. She's probably already left the driveway. So thanks, everybody, for jumping in here. Do me a quick favor. Hit that like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, thank you for making us a part of your morning. Make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. And listen, you're watching this video back later, let me know in the comments right now. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this defensive tackle position shakeup? Who's going to replace Devonte Wyatt? Can you replace Devonte Wyatt? Is there a free agent you might want to go try to take a look at? Maybe there's somebody on the practice squad, a James Esther, somebody like that you want to try to promote and give them a shot. We want to hear from you in the comments, so make sure you hit like on your way out. Everybody have a great day. We will see you later this afternoon, maybe about 2 o'clock for another stream. We'll see how it goes. But my name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.